So what is it like making your first short film? What is it like directing your first short film?
Absolutely terrifying.
From Beyond Film School, I put on a script competition, and now it is February. It's February 2026, and now I am technically in pre-production for my first short film. I say first short film because I do have another short film under my belt. Did it myself, wrote it, was in it, shot it. And for me, I feel like that doesn't really qualify as like directing my own thing, even though I know it is. But then I had another short film that I never finished because of my actor having a broken collarbone and me moving away from Buffalo and all this stuff. So this is like the first time for me actually directing a short film where someone else wrote it. Now I am in the reality of, okay, I have to actually make this thing.
You're in too deep, man.
You get the advice like, yeah, go out there, you gotta make something, just do it, just do your short film. I am that person. I am a doer, and I want people who are on my channel and who are alumni of Beyond Film School, who have taken my classes and joined my film challenge, and they've actually kind of been brave enough to get forced into the situation of making film. And I'm an advocate for taking action, doing something. Don't just talk about it, right? And I think that now that I'm in the spot of like making my own short film, and I've actually helped a lot of people make their shorts, and I've been a really good facilitator, and I've also been a really good supporter of other people's films, especially with me having experience as a first AD, and me loving being a first AD and helping a director and helping many first-time directors make their first short film or making their first feature. And I think that it's very different. Outside looking in is very, very different than actually being in the spot. Because while I've just had like a few phone calls, it's actually quite scary. The reason why it's scary is because what people are going to see on the screen is what you see inside of your head and what you feel and how you interpret this script. Your feelings, emotions is a little bit like you are. And I think that if you want to be a director, this is something that you should keep in mind, that you are opening yourself up to a vulnerable place within you when you are directing. And I think a lot of people are very, very scared of that. And I know there are people out there who want to actually be directors, and they're just like, how do I even start this process? How do I go about doing this? And I'm going to tell you what's happening right now. So right now we are in pre-production. I have a couple of producers attached. They are helping, but I have like one lead producer. And for me being Beyond Film School, for me being years of experience as a first AD, I still am like, oh, what do I do? Even though I know what to do, I'm still having that execution anxiety. People will say just do it, but then when you're faced with trying to do it, you're like, oh my God, what can happen? You are entering a realm of uncertainty. Being someone who has been such an advocate for action, I am trying to conquer the execution anxiety by just taking it day by day and doing one thing at a time and deciding one thing at a time, even though I know I have given myself a deadline. And that actually helps when you give yourself a deadline. It does help. So if you are in that spot of like, okay, what do I do? How do I start? I have a short film. What do I do next? Give yourself a deadline. What day, what weekend are you available to shoot this thing? Because then you can go from there. Right now, we're trying to get our location. And that's kind of the first thing. Location and cast are the first things that we're actually worried about. And then I have to worry about my DP because that's a big chunk of it, right? So location first, cast, and then who you want to shoot it. So I think location, cast, and DP are your first things that you should really be thinking about. A friend of mine, and he's also, I'm trying to produce her short film. I'm trying to actually be her producer, and she's directing it. And she says to me, you know, well, we didn't want to set a date because what if we hired a DP that wasn't available that date? And I was like, well, here's the thing. It's like, if you set a date, you're giving yourself a deadline. And also what you're doing is you're kind of giving them a ballpark, say like, hey, are you available on this day? And if they're not, and you fall in love with their work and you want to hire them, then you can always change the date. You can say, okay, well, maybe we can't do it this weekend, so let's do it the following week, or when are you available? I really like your work. I'll change the dates. If it's far enough advance, you can do that. That's how she kind of got into this paralysis of not doing anything for the short that she wanted to direct, was the date versus hiring the DP. Because she wanted a very specific type of DP, and then she wanted a crew that was minority and queer driven. So it was like finding someone who could fit that mold was one problem. And then she was like, well, if I don't have a date, if you don't have a date, it's going to be hard to hire people, right? Because they don't really know ballpark when you're going to need them. But then, you are going to have those people who are like your ride or die, who are like, yes, whatever day you pick, I'm going to make sure I'm available. You will have those people. So another thing that I'm thinking about is shot listing, storyboarding, what I want the characters to look like, what they should be wearing. And luckily for me, I've been able to visualize all this stuff. So when I'm asked anything about this, I don't have to really be like, oh my God, what? I'm just like, oh, you know what? I'm just kind of being true to me and what I think I want. Like, for example, my producer, she's like, okay, hair and makeup. And I was like, I don't want the hair and makeup to be a big deal. And when asked about equipment, I don't want it to be too much. I want us to adhere to whatever guidelines the location needs. Like, we need minimal gear. And I think a lot of people, when they're first starting to make their first short film, is that they get really overwhelmed with all the pieces and all the equipment that could be involved, and what camera are they going to use, and this and that, and like what film festivals. Like, there's so many questions that you will get asked as a director, and what you want to do with this film, and what the goal is of the film. And there's a lot. So you can always be like, you can slow people down. Just slow people down. Because here's the thing, is that I think that if you start small enough, there's always a build that happens where it's like, let's just use an iPhone, but then your friend offers their Sony or something, right? And you're like, oh my God, okay. Then if you have that, then you need a focus puller, and you need a focus puller, you need a second. It's like a whole thing where you start super, super small and things get bigger and bigger and bigger. Keep it as simple as possible and try to just keep it true to you and what you want to do, because I think sometimes I'm thinking about crew, and I'm thinking like, I don't want a bunch of people, but also like I'm thinking about directing in front of people, which gives me a little bit like, oh my goodness. So there is a lot of fear attached to directing your own stuff. There's a lot of fear of directing someone else's stuff, because for me, some of my anxiety comes from, I don't want to let people down. I don't want the writer, which, bless his heart, he's amazing. He's from Ireland, and he wrote a very, very lovely, heartstrings, pulls at your heartstrings type thing. And the script was great. And I was like, as soon as I read it, I was like, I need to make this. It was very, very beautifully written, and it was minimal dialogue, and it was amazing. And I don't want to let that writer down, because I think that what they created was amazing. So there is that anxiety of like, oh shit. Like, I have to be able to do that script justice, right? And I have to make it, when I'm reading it, it feels powerful. So when I'm watching it, I want it to feel the same way. And that is something that is really hard to live up to when you're putting yourself in the director's spot. Why I started to do all of this. In the interviews, I interviewed all the writers during the script competition, and some of them had really great questions, but one question I got a couple times was, they were like, why did you decide to do this? Why are you directing? And I thought to myself, well, I think there's a bit of proving it to myself that I could do it, because every time, and it's like a bug that bites you or something. And this is an urge that keeps happening. And for me, when I have ideas, or when I'm creative and I have an urge and I keep thinking about it, it will not leave my head, I know I have to do that thing. Part of it is because during the film challenge, I ended up mentoring a lot of the directors in the film challenge, trying to give them the best advice possible as first-time directors. And me having minimal director experience, I felt I owe it to the people of the film challenge and the people in Beyond Film School. I owe it to them to know more about how it feels to be in that position. And some people thought it was very selfless and such a very interesting reason why I'm doing this. But I feel like if I'm in that position, I will learn more, and I'll be able to relate to them more as a first-time director, and I will be able to mentor them better. So that's one reason. The next reason is, every time I'm on set, more and more I see how a director will bring things to life, and how they decide things, or why they don't do certain things. And I sometimes see directors freeze, and I sometimes see them decide certain things and I don't agree with it. So now I'm like, I really want to be in that role to kind of conquer those types of things. So that is another reason. So since we're in pre-production, I haven't shot this thing yet, and I'll keep everyone updated on how this goes. But I think what will happen is this all could crash and burn, guys, and I don't make anything. It could all crash and burn. I think if it all crashes and burns, like, what am I going to do, right? But the other thing that could happen is that I could make this, I will prove myself, and then maybe I want to make another one. I don't know. But then what could happen is that I could be like, okay, I did it. It's not for me. And that could also be something that happens. So that still remains to be seen. We will take it as it comes. But something I do want to give advice about when you are a director directing your own or your first project, whether it's your own script or not, it takes the pressure off finding someone that is your like partner in this, like someone who's gonna be, they're just excited about it as you are. And I feel like I found someone like that, and like that is my producer. She actually started as one of my set PA trainees, and she's been a very, very active and proactive person in Beyond Film School, the alumni community, and even in the Film Challenge. And I just knew right away, I was like, I want her to produce this because I know that she was going to be definitely on top of things. She's a doer. She is proactive. She's assertive, and she's not afraid, and she can negotiate. So that's like, this is everything I want in a producer. So I think working with people that you trust, and that's why people hire people over and over and over again when it comes to when they're making something. They work with people that they know will look out for them and who's going to work hard and who believe in what they're producing, right? So I think keeping that in mind of just like finding that one person, hiring the people that you trust, and then sometimes you just work out the details later on. Right now, where I'm at with this short film. So the short film, actually, I should tell you about the short film. So the short film is a short film that is about 4 pages. But because there's no dialogue, there's a lot of descriptive things. There's lots of action that's happening in it. Not action per se, like running and, chasing, but like a lot of things are being told with no dialogue. And that's what's really great about it. And it is kind of like a love at first sight film, but it's called Scene, and it has to deal with a hearing impaired actress, and she draws pictures for him, and they get to know each other, and you can see that chemistry. And what I love is that I can feel the chemistry off the page. So my hope for this is that I can be able to get the actors to a really, really great performance where they can actually portray that chemistry so the audience can feel it. So then how are you going to like make up chemistry, Amber? That's kind of the question that I think some of you guys are like, well, how do you handle that? How do you create chemistry when you are a director? And I think it's, and this is that whole thing about like casting is the thing that you're going to have to do, right? The casting is, in this instance for me, is going to be very, very important, because if I hire 2 people who I love separately, but if they come together and they don't have that chemistry, then one of them has got to go. So for me, the plan is to cast my lead actor, and what she is going to do is I'm going to be like, okay, this is my actress, and then I'm going to have her audition with the opposite, her counterpart, the male part in this. And if they have no chemistry, it's not going to work. So I'm hoping to kind of just fall in this happy, like, oh my God, happy coincidence. Like this worked out. I found the perfect people, but it really is going to come in casting. So casting is going to be a really big chunk of pre-production that I know once I find the right actors, I know that a lot of it's gonna fall right into place, or at least that's the hope, but I'll let everyone know how it goes. So so that's the script competition so far. We're in pre-production, and then we're looking for locations right now in New York and New Jersey. So wish me luck. I will give you guys an update on what's happening with my short film.